And it's disturbing. Good morning, dear listener. This is anti-human. Apart from being anti-labor, it is surprising that up till now, persons that you are paying 5,000 per month, 10,000 per month, 15,000 per month, and you have not reacted to them protesting. And the protest is the right of a worker, Abechi, according to labor law. You have a right to protest if you are unfairly treated. And this is.
It depends on form of protest.
Yeah, they carried placards. They were not. What do you call it? They were not rough. They were not. They didn't destroy any property. They only protested by dumping refuse in front of the government house.
They didn't constitute.
That is the refuse. That is the refuse.
How lawful was the action?
That is the refuse they have swept before in the last 4 months. So they gathered them and returned them. Amechi, it behoves on a government that knows what it's doing. It behoves on a government that is for the people, that knows that democracy is for the people, by the people, and of the people, to act swiftly in such a matter. I mean, these are the people, the downtrodden. These are the people that we call poorest of the poor, and they are protesting. It's a shame on a government that has over 50 or 100 aides that he's paying salaries not less than 600,000 naira a month. And you have women whose children are probably struggling to go to school. If tomorrow their children become criminals, who will you blame? Government should take issues of the poorest of the poor or the poor very seriously. This Cross River State government has not reacted. It's a shame. We call on global rights groups. We call on civil society groups. Even the NLC, you have the informal sector workers. They should react to this because Amechi, this will snowball. I've heard people saying that they're going to gather all the informal workers around that are engaged in sweeping to fight this cause. In Abuja, for example, and in Lagos, you have outsourcing of such cleaners, street sweepers. They are outsourcing to companies, and I don't know the arrangement in Cross River State Government House. Is this somebody that is there in the account department that has lodged the money in the account to yield interest? These are issues that we need to tackle. Not the big political stories that will say this person is in court, this person is not in court.
I don't know how legal their action is, but that action has raised the issue, taking it away from Calabar and Cross River State up to the national level and perhaps up to the international arena. And that was their aim. Now, I said earlier that these are people that practically live from hand to mouth. Those daily laborers, those people who engage on daily basis.
Wages.
Yes, after working for you, at the close of the work day, you don't pay them. They won't leave you. Because all their life lies on that money they are making on daily pay. Come tomorrow, no be for them. You must find a means to pay them. Because if they go home, there's a tendency that their family may not feed. So desperation may set in. And taking forward TVTF to these poor citizens who are earning peanuts, as it were. And it's not restricted to Cross River State. If you go to Abia, if you go to several states, there are many states that are owing up to, even Teve's own state, Benue, owing years of gratuity, of pensions. Paying of pensions and it's worse at the state level. Paying of pension at the state level is like, if you pay pension, you've won a jackpot in these states. Those in authority, do they ask themselves, how do these elderly senior citizens who gave their life to the service of the state survive? These poor Nigerians that were owing salary, how do they survive? And these are governors that, if they want to come to Abuja, you see them fly private jets. We know how much it costs, about $12,000. When it comes to their comfort, there is money. When it's time to buy new SUVs, Lexus, Jeep, bulletproof vehicles, they'll buy scores of them. There is money. But when it comes to payment of salary for work done, there's no money in treasury.
Amici, good morning to you. Good morning, listener. The situation in Cross River State is a very sad one. Amici, on the streets of Abuja this morning, the roads are back with traffic, which means the persons who traveled for Salah are now back. But you will see that during the Salah holiday, the street sweepers, mostly women, were still on those streets on public holidays sweeping. And that is the same situation in Cross River State. They used to be staff of the state government, of the FCT and all of that, but that has been outsourced to private cleaning companies, So perhaps the state government has not paid the contractor the money, and the contractor has told the workers the street sweepers, look, because we have not been paid, we cannot pay you. So they now decided to carry out such a. But you also know that Cross River State is not. At some point, the governor was proud of paying 13 months salary and all of that. But at some point, also, we know that the workers in that state have gone on strike a couple of times, protesting even the minimum wage adjustments and several, other things. It's a sad one. We hope that this has drawn the appropriate attention. It's been, I think, about 2 days now or so. We've not heard any formal reaction from the Cross River State government, especially the governor. Ayade, please.
No arrest of the street sweepers.
No, you cannot try that. You cannot arrest. You cannot.
The state government is still dazed.
Communication in terms of
and maybe ashamed, even on top of it.
In terms of payment, apology,
yes.
And all of that. It also means that if that has been done on the streets of the government house, then you can be just think of what is on the entire streets of Calabar today. You can. They have not been swept, so it's not just what you are seeing there. The entire street is polluted, airborne diseases, contamination, and every other citizen that is residing in Calabar or any of those major towns where such services are provided are now at risk of diseases, and all. So it's even way beyond what we are seeing. We hope that today the Cross River State government, in fact, after now, some of us will also see how we can reach out to our friends there, to see that the right thing is done.
This is an Ayade that cried on the podium during campaign. And he cried, "Oh, please, vote for me." Vote. He shedded tears, Amici, when he was campaigning. Where is the tears that Ayade shedded? That is one out of so many governors and federal government parastatals that are owing worker salary. Amici, is $10. $6, $10, $8, $10, $11 in the UK with minimum payment per day. Nigeria, we have standard, but we don't follow it. That is why NLC fights for minimum wage. Amechi, 30,000 naira is supposed to be the minimum you pay for a worker, whether private or government or public employed.
If you have up to 10 workers, there's a condition.
No, that was for pension. That's for pension.
Pension. Calabar. We said earlier, we don't know how legal it is. We know workers have rights under our labor laws to protest when they are
unfairly treated.
But it's novel and perhaps a wake-up call to workers elsewhere. There are many of them who prefer to die in silence. Many of them, sometimes the pensioners, will ask you to come and do verification. Many of them, as they queue up to be verified, they fall down there and die and all that. They prefer to die in silence. But we always talk about docility of the Nigerian citizenry. Those in Calabar, remember the Aba Women Riot of 1929? It's still a reference point. Tomorrow, we'll make reference to the action, positive action, if that is so, taken by the women in Calabar to fight for their rights. It sends a strong message to those in authority that if you unfairly treat citizens, look at this is what will likely happen to you elsewhere in Europe. They can throw rotten eggs, tomatoes,
and even slap the president.
We hear sometimes it may not up to slap. In one of the European countries, they say if you throw a rotten egg or tomato, that it may not entirely constitute an offense. We can't say with certainty that even if you are arrested, they will just release you because they know that the rotten egg tomato will not do any harm. They believe there is a way of expressing your grievance and all that. But maybe we'll be guided by our friends who are lawyers on this. But let's quickly go to the Defense House. Yesterday on this program, we said we wondered why the president-elect is in his personal house in Asokoro. Yesterday,
number 10.
We don't even know the street number of where I live.
I'm not
going to know that I'm president-elect.
Are you
I'm president. I'm a president. I'm president of my students, old students association. So he has moved into the Defense House. Consultations continued. The crowd followed him there.
I think he went to inspect from the report. He went to inspect the facilities. and hopefully in the next few hours he should be able to move there. The truth of the matter is, I mentioned there are some things that cannot happen in his private residence because of the security implication, and all of, because the defense house is proof, is security proof. It's almost like the presidential villa, and all of that. If the president-elect or the president or any of such persons is coming into this particular studio that we are, you can be sure that they will even send advance party. They will comb the entire place, check the sockets if there is no any sensor that has been put anywhere and all of that. But they cannot go and do all of that in his private residence, and that. So obviously he has to move. I was saying he's the one who has a house in Abuja. Obasanjo, when he left prison in '99, I'm not sure he had a private house in Abuja. Yaradua, being a socialist, I'm not sure he had a private house in Abuja. There was the fact that he was governor, for 8 years. Even Jonathan, and all of that. Buhari himself did not have. I'm not sure even up to now he has a private house in Abuja.
He has in Asoko. In Asoko.
Okay, you declared one house.
He said. He said he has repeatedly told us he's going to die, right? And if you disturb him, he will move into.
Nobody will even disturb him.
If you disturb him, he move into Niger Republic. And I asked, is he going by rail?
Don't forget, Amechi gave a contract for the rail.
But you know that, and we know, he will find life in Daura tough. Over time, after a few months, he may begin to miss city life, and he may want to come back to his house. I think he's more comfortable in Kaduna than Abuja.
Go to London.
He may but he may want to come back.
On the defense house, on the defense house issue, as Steve said, they went visiting yesterday to inspect. But you see, there are some information. He will be receiving security brief as president-elect, and there are some things that cannot be done in his private residence. They will be done officially. He has the protocol in the defense house. He has everything the president enjoys. He enjoys it in the defense house. So if he does not move there, he will be the one losing, because some briefs will not be given to him in his private residence.
He should move ASAP.
Yes, as soon as possible. I'm sure that will be done. He knows, and I'm sure that.
Tepe had a lot of smile on his face when you say he should move ASAP.
Yes, because it's part of the process. Where today, I think about 33 days or so to inauguration. So everything should be on, like we say, on top gear. Every hand on deck.
but that reminds me. Sorry for digressing. 33 days to inauguration. And your Minister of Aviation say we are going to launch Nigeria Air 32 days.
No, they say it must fly before.
There's a court order. There's a court order.
I hope we are not going to see camouflage launching.
There's a court order against that. There's a court order against that. Early this week, there were reports. I think Lagos court or so has given an order that airline should not fly until the determination of the matter. So anything Hadi Sirika or anybody in the administration does is at the risk of contempt of court, is against and will completely. There is no need to rush. There's no need to insist that this must be done before May 29. It should be done at the right time. There's no Nigerian who will not want a national carrier. The pride in itself is what it is. Even the airliners that have gone to court to challenge it.
The private local airline operators.
It's a process that they are against, and some of the terms and all of that. They're not saying there shouldn't be a national carrier, and those issues should be resolved. Before we do
the court says don't fly. Hadi Sirika, the Minister of Aviation, says we must fly. Well, if Nigeria Air cannot fly, he can make Edo Air fly.
The president, when he was responding to the order against the resignation of the night, what did he say? He said he had not encouraged anybody to disobey court order. So even on this matter, Mr. President, stop Hadi Sirika.
He can fly the Edo way. When we come back, we'll take your mail. Stay with us.